Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everyone. Can you please confirm that you can hear me with a thumbs up? So where you are, if it's morning, please just respond with good morning. If it's afternoon, respond with good afternoon. If it's good evening, respond with good evening or good night, whichever one it is, so I can be sure that you can hear me clearly. Hi, Amaka, good afternoon. Good morning, Gabriel. Yeah, it's still morning. I'm in UK as well, Gabriel. Good morning. Good afternoon, Comfort Chisholm. Good afternoon, Esther. Good afternoon, Oluwakemi. Good afternoon, Christiana. Good afternoon, Chidima. Good morning, Paul. Good afternoon. Plenty afternoon day here. Oh. Plenty afternoon. Well, I've still got a couple of minutes to get into my afternoon. So those of you who are already in the afternoon, how is the afternoon looking like? What does afternoon look like where you are? Is it sunny? Because this my morning is not morning at all. I have light, I have sunshine, but no heat. Go on, finish me. All right, I'm gonna afternoon is looking cloudy. So is my morning of rare. My morning is also looking cloudy and cold. Okay, so we are going to start at exactly 5 minutes past 11, so we'll have more people be able to join. Mr. Francis, good morning. Can I confirm that you're ready to start recording, or is that something I should be doing from my end? Mr. David, can you please confirm that the recording is set to begin so that the class can kick off?
Yes, I mean, we are live, so it's being recorded. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much, everyone who has joined in this afternoon, morning, wherever you are. I've not had a very good morning, so if I'm not in my elements today, please forgive me, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try my best. It's raining in your location. You're blessed. You're blessed. Okay, so it's 5 minutes past 11. Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you are, to this second class of the free Microsoft Excel training graciously being organized by the Health Techies and Consultants, the Health Consultants and Techies. And Microsoft Excel is the one tool that you would use irrespective of whatsoever your role is. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you are a organizer, whether you're a tailor, whether you're a doctor, you're an engineer, you're a lawyer, you're a teacher, you're a barber, whatever it is you do, Microsoft Excel is one tool that you cannot do without in this 21st century. So you are doing yourself a whole world of good by being here. Please do spread the word as well and invite your friends to join in. So we are going to dive in straight away. Let me share my screen very quickly and we will kick off. So last class. All right, can you confirm that you can see my screen? Yes, no, thumbs up. Can you see my screen?
Not yet, ma.
Not yet. Oh, okay. Uh, but it should be showing now. It's saying I'm sharing, but it's not showing. StreamYard is sharing your screen. It's telling me StreamYard is sharing my screen, but it's not coming up. Mr. David, any ideas what else I should do?
It's
Stop
showing now.
sharing. Oh, okay. It's
It
showing
showed
now.
for like a second and then it removed
Went
again.
off. Okay, let me do it again now. Is it up now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So can you see the Excel file now? The Excel sheet now?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So you're saying split the following into first name and last name, right?
Yes, ma.
Good. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is where we stopped the last time. And if you can recall a quick sweep, we had an introduction to Sheets where I used, moving into a new house to explain this Microsoft Excel interface, home, insert, page layout, formulas, data. So we reviewed all of that last year. And then we also went down to talk about um, the work area that is divided into columns and rows and how to identify its junction between a column and a row, which we called a cell. And then we also looked at how you can input data into the cells, the columns and the rows, which we tried doing here. And then we went on to use the sum function. We also looked at the different operations, the different operation symbols in Excel, from addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, power, percentage, and all of that. We also went on to look at how to fill, where you put in your formula and then you drag down or you double tap on this little box on the bottom right corner. We also went on to then look at the split where we had this data in column A, having all of the information, that should be in 3 different columns, all modeled up in one. And then we use the text to we use the text to column function under the data tab to split this into the different columns. And then that was the last class for the last time, I think. So today we are going to be going straight into the next class, which is transpose. So if you weren't in the last class, I don't know if the recording is available for you or not. If it's not, then take note of these functions in Excel: sum, fill, split. You may want to, either register for the premium class where you can ask questions and be attended to, or you may want to, on your own, go into some research to get the answers to these things, understand how they are for yourself. Again, this morning, I want to repeat what I said last week before I proceed. Please understand that this thing is not difficult. I understand that we have different learning capacities and abilities. So these things are not difficult. It is just new. So I need you to have that at the back of your mind. If you're struggling with it at any point, tell yourself, Chimdi, this is not difficult. It's just new. And so if you give it time and focus, then you'll get used to it. So today we are going straight into another function, very important function in Excel that helps you with data wrangling. So, for example, we have a data set, a very little data set here that has, the headers are in the row. So we see the headers item. This tells you what the items are. An amount. This tells you what the amount is. So if you look at this other data we have in the split sheet, you'd see that the headers are in the columns, right? But when you look at this data, you see that the headers are in the row. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with having this data like this. But let's say that you do not want it to be this way, maybe because of what you want to do. You feel it's better that your headers are in the column. I would always prefer my headers in the column anyway. So what do? You use the transpose function. Now, the transpose function is a type of paste. So the normal paste that we know is to highlight the data that we have, right? So control copy, and then you go to where you want to paste it, you right click, and then what most of us usually do is that we use this first one, paste. This is the one we know, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes, no, yes, yes, no, yes.
Yes, ma.
Yes. So that's the one that we are used to doing, which is good, the normal copy and paste. Now, there is also another kind of paste, which I know we did sometime, I think either in the field also, where we did paste values, which is this one that has the 1, 2, 3. So if you paste as values, you see that the formatting that was done earlier, with this headers having these colors is gone. Because when you say paste values, you're simply saying whatever it is, whatever, work transformation I have done in this data, ignore it. Just paste whatever values it is that are in the cells for me. And this is paste as values. But the one we are trying to do now is called paste transpose. And the this is the symbol for it. So you can see that it has this symbol that has this what do I call it now? Arrows pointing to the right and down. So in other words, you can paste things, if the headers were, if the data was horizontal and you want it to become vertical, you use transpose. If the data was vertical and you want it horizontal, you also use transpose. So Excel already knows how the data you copied is. And then when you say paste transpose, it knows that you want it to look the other way. So when we choose paste transpose, you can see that this data has been moved from being horizontal to being vertical. If I copy this data again, control copy, and I come here again and ask it to paste transpose, can you see that it has taken it back to the where it was? So paste transpose helps you to reorganize your data either from a vertical position to a horizontal position or from a horizontal position back to a vertical position. Is this understood? Any questions? If you understood this, can I have a thumbs up or a yes or a no?
Yes, ma.
Yes, please. Yes, 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 yes. If you understood it, can I have a yes? Can I have a yes? No, no, yes. Do you understand? Thank you for always responding to me. Yes, thank you, Chinalorum. Thank you. Who is this person responding to me here? Is it Chidima? Your voice is so nice.
Yeah, it's me, Chidima.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for always responding. Thank you. Okay, all right. I have a couple of yeses here, so we can crack on. All right. So we now one thing I also want you to do is that, as I said in the last class, please begin to imagine how you use this thing in your real life situation, in your job as a teacher, in your job as an admin officer, in your job as a lab scientist, in your whatever it is you're doing, whatever I teach you now, begin to envision how you can apply that in your job. That's the only time it will make sense. And if you feel that you are struggling with this at any point and you will need more support beyond what is offered in this free class, please do well to get onto the premium class. Mr. David would guide you more on how to do that so that you can get a one-on-one better attention there. All right, so let's move to the next function that we have for today. It's called the sort and filter. So the sort and filter, I like giving real life examples with before I dive into it. And as always, I want to again use the example of laundry, because everybody here does laundry, whether you wash with your hands or you use washing machine. Or those of us that are on Facebook, do you remember that time when there was this wahala between those that use washing machine and those that wash with hand? Who remembers? Who remembers the time there was that wahala? Eh? Those that have washing machine were calling those that were using hand poor. Okay, that aside. So let's use the example of a laundry. Okay. So let's say that you have a heap of clothes that you want to wash. All right. And then the clothes have been packed for maybe 1 week or two. And then today is laundry day, Saturday, and you want to wash. And then you come in. The first thing you do if you want to really wash your clothes well would be to do some kind of sorting, where you begin to group clothes either based on their material, the kind of material they are, or based on the color. Personally, I usually sort based on color. So I bring out all the whites and put them in one heap. I bring out all the blacks and put them in one heap. And then I bring out all the multicolors and put them in one heap. Now, that is called sorting. And that is exactly what sorting is in Excel as well. So sorting means arranging or grouping things based on a certain criteria. And so we are now going to go ahead to do this. Okay, let me also explain filter, and then we go into doing the job. Again, using the laundry example. Okay, using the laundry example again for filter. So when you have this pack of clothes that you want to wash, all right, you can either sort it like the example I've given, or you decide to filter it and say, let's say, you have children like I do. I've got, 3 under 10s. And I always instruct them, anytime you wear your clothes, carry it, go and put it in the laundry basket or keep it close to the laundry. When it's time for me to wash it, I'll come and sort them and wash. And then if you're like me and then you've come and you see clothes that are there, you're like, Bia, when did you use these clothes? This cloth is not dirty. Oh yeah, take it out. You take it out, and keep it, and you remove it completely from the bulk of clothes you want to wash. That is an example of filtering. So you're taking out something that you don't want to see. So sorting is you are grouping it based on a certain condition. So it is there, but it is grouped in a certain way. Filtering is take this out. I only want to see this one for now. Take this out. Let me deal with this one. Is this example clear? Thumbs up, thumbs down, just so before I can proceed. Do you understand the example I just gave? Another example of filtering. Can I get a thumbs up or a thumbs down or a yes? Another example of filtering would be for those, thank you very much, Precious. Another example would be for those who make akamo. I don't know what you call it in other languages. In my place, there's something called akamo or ugi. Okay. Now, so the way you make that is that you take corn and go blend it. Then after blending it, you have to come and use a fine cloth to sieve it so that the chaff of the corn would be in one side. And then pap, thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you, pap. Yes, that's what it is. So the chaff will be on one side, and then the pap itself, the main thing, will be on the other side. So that is filtering. You're taking out the chaff, and then you're leaving what you need. Now that we've understood it, let's dive down to see how Excel can help you do this. So we have a data set here. And this data set is showing us departments, categories, departments. Department is like the bigger cadre. So daily, produce, bakery, meats. This is the different departments. And in these departments, these are the different categories of products that we have in them. And then in October, these sales were made. In November, these sales were made. In December, these sales were made. And so our first question here says, sort out the lowest. So we are going to be trying to deal with this question. The first thing you do is that you click anywhere in your data. Under the Home tab, okay, come to the far right. I don't know where it is on yours, but it's on mine. Click on Sort and Filter. Okay. And then for me, I usually just click this filter so I can get the drop down. So once this drop down appears, the question says sort out the lowest. Okay, so let's use December as an example. First let's do a total so we can then get the lowest. Let's get a total, so equals to sum. Remember we did sum last time. So you choose the range of numbers you want to sum and you click enter, and then you fill. Why is this one giving me? Okay. Okay, so let's call this total. Sorry, know where my head is at today. So I'm just trying to get the drop down. Undo. Okay. So now that you see how I put in the filter buttons is just having these drop downs here. So the first question says sort out the lowest. So the lowest sales in the quarter. Now, when you click on this drop down, you'd see that Excel knows that these are numbers. Okay, and you see the option it is giving you for the sort. It says sort smallest to largest or sort largest to smallest. If I bring this drop down here that has text, you can see that Excel understands that this is a text, and it is asking me whether I want to sort A to Z or sort Z to A, because it knows that these are characters or alphabets. So since our question says sort out the lowest here, so we can ask the cell to sort from smallest to largest because we want to see what the smallest is. So when we click on that, Excel reorganizes this data and brings this and arranges it in descending order or in ascending order. So from the smallest to the largest. So we can see that it has sorted this data and has shown us first what the smallest value is. Now the next question says filter by department. So we have seen how to sort. Is this clear? Is this example on sorting clear enough? Yes. Please, can we have the notes out of the lower part of the screen?
Yes, it's clear.
It's clear. Okay. Sorry. How do you mean the notes out of the lower part of the screen? If you mean coming down here, I could still scroll down and we'll deal with that later, but we are dealing with the ones that are up here. Okay, so the next question says filter by department. So you come to the column that says department. So under the departments now, we have different departments here. We have bakery, dairy, meat, produce. Now, Chidima, guide me. Let's choose 2 out of 3 departments that we want to see. Can you just choose any 2?
Bakery and produce. Bakery and
Bak-
meat.
Bakery and meat. It be like say you like meat, well. Okay, that's fine. So Chidema says we want to only see how bakery and meat has done in this quarter. So we only select bakery. We unselect all. You can so you see all of them are selected because everything is showing. So if you unselect all, it means you want nothing to show, but you must show something in your data. So Chidema says let's show bakery and meat. So whichever one it is you want, you select those and you click OK. You see that the data has filtered out anything that is not bakery and meat, has left you with only the income that we have from bakery and meat. The same thing also applies if you want to see only deli, so that they won't be confusing you. You click on only deli and it brings up information about deli alone. So this is how to sort and how to filter. Again, you can also sort by department. Remember what we did was to filter by department. So you can also sort by department by, say, sorting A to Z. So you can see that it's arranged all the departments in alphabetical order. As a teacher, I'm hoping that you're beginning to see how you can apply this to your job. As a tailor, as a lab scientist, as a banker, as a doctor, I'm hoping you're beginning to see how you can apply this to your workplace. Okay, so this also is another example. Sorry, let me centralize this so it's easier. Okay, so we have another data down here, a little data. I'm going to do this example and then I'll leave you with the third one to try out. So again, it's the same thing. If we are going to go by the business questions we've been dealing with, sort out the lowest. So which is the lowest? So let's say these employees, okay, were sent on an official assignment, and this is the amount of money they spent on food, the amount of money they spent on accommodation. So they've come back and then they filed these returns to the bursary department, for refund of what they spent. And let's say you are the CEO of that organization and you're like, okay, all these are not clear, who spent the most on hotel? You want to see, you can decide to, click on the hotel and sort from largest to smallest because you want to find out who spent the most. So it brings this up and you can see that Laura spent the most on hotel bill. And it can't be woman, except Laura is a male name. So this gives you an idea, and also who spent the least in the hotel bills. Okay, so let's say that you want to find out on food who spent the least on food. So you can decide to do this from smallest to largest, and you can see that Jackie spent the least on food. Okay, let's say that a sort of conditional formatting has been done on this data, and that's why, let me change this and see if it helps sort from Z to A. Okay, so the colors that you see here is a sort of conditional formatting that has been done. See this tab here. It has a lot of things, that you can use to conditionally I don't think it's part of this class. I don't think so. No, it's not. Okay, so there's a function in Excel that is called conditional formatting that helps you, to format every column or your whole data in such a way that the moment you look at it, you begin to get interpretations from it. So maybe it might be in the premium class or in the data analysis class, but conditional formatting is a function in Excel that it's you have to know about. So I think conditional formatting has been used to add this colors to this data. Mr. David, are you here? Can you confirm if conditional formatting is part of the premium class? Is it? Are you here? Or anybody in the in the health keys admin. Okay. But I mean, that's something you need
He
to
will be
know.
back shortly.
Okay, okay, that's fine.
He'll be back shortly.
Shortly. Okay. So when you have conditionally formatted data like it is here, it's either you do it yourself or maybe the data you have has already pre-conditioned, has been pre-formatted conditionally. So conditional formatting simply means formatting data based on a certain condition. So that's simply what conditional formatting means. You've told a cell, if this thing is like this, we are going to do a conditional function. If statement is a conditional function, so we are going to be doing that, but conditional formatting means Excel, if this thing is like this, please tell me this or do this to it. So if this amount is up to this amount, color it green. If it's this amount, color it red. If it's this amount, color it blue. So that if you've conditionally formatted your data, the moment you take a look at it, it tells you, it gives you information without you having to start doing sort and filter and all of this. So, but let's say that this data has been pre-formatted conditionally, and then you want to sort it by color. So let's say you've sorted, this data has green, blue, yellow, red, and you know what all of them mean. Okay. And then you now want to say, okay, can I see all of the blues? But in this case, it's now all of the yellows. So if you have more than one color here, you would have seen all of the colors showing here when you click on sort by color. But because we have only the yellow color and the no fill color, that's the ones that have no color, then we're having only yellow. But if you had yellow, green, blue, all the colors will be showing here. Then you can choose which color you want. So if you click on the yellow, you see that it has sorted it based on color. All the ones that have the color have come up and are all together. And you can see which ones are color. So this is what sort and filter is like. Again, I'll never fail to say it. I hope you're beginning to picture how you can use this in your workplace, because if you don't, then this would make a lot of sense to you. Do you understand sort and filter? Can I move on?
I think there are people in the comments that don't understand and would
Can I
like
do
to.
it again? Okay, so I should repeat the sort and filter again. Pearl and Ame, do you say I should repeat the sort and filter again? Okay, all right. I'll go over it again. That's fine. So, please, Pearl and Ame, can you confirm if you understood my explanation using the PAP example? Did you understand my explanation on PAP and laundry? I haven't seen Pearl respond. Pearl and Ame Moses, did you understand my explanation on PAP and laundry? Okay, they are not responding. So I'll assume that they understood the explanation. So I used an example of PAP and laundry to explain sort and filter. And my explanation was that if you are about to do laundry, what most people do, like me, would be to sort or group the clothes either based on the kind of material of the cloth or based on the color. I personally sort more based on color. So I'll group all the whites in one place, group all the multicolored clothes in one place, and group all the dark colored clothes in one place, and then wash them in those groups. That is what sorting is. Arranging things or grouping things based on a certain criteria. And in the example that I've just given now, I sorted it based on color. You can also sort based on fabric. And then I also went on to talk about filter using the PAP example, the process of making PAP, where you take your corn, soak it, and then you go blend it. But to get the PAP itself that you eat as food, you need to get a cloth and pour in what you have blended, the corn that you've blended, and then begin to massage it. What you're doing when you're massaging is that you're saying, all the liquid part that is the ogi or the pap, please go down. All the other ones that is chaff, please stay up here. That is filtering. You're taking out something completely that you do not want to see. And then we went ahead in this data to first get the sum of all the sales that has been made in October, November, and December, and we put it in this column F, which is the total column. And we inserted this drop down by clicking on this on our data, going to the home tab, and on the far right, clicking on sort and filter. And then clicking on filter, it brought this drop down here. Clicking on this drop down, we try to answer this first question showing here that says, sort out the lowest. Do I make my screen a little bigger? Does this help? Okay. So we try to answer this question that says, sort out the lowest. And then you click on this drop down. It brings out all the numbers you have and some options here for you to sort. So it says sort out the lowest. So you want to bring out, see which one is the lowest. Arrange this income or sales based on smallest to largest. So we click on the smallest to largest, and we see that it has sorted our data in ascending order from the smallest sales to the largest sale made. And then the second question that says filter by department. We came to the department section here, and Chidinma helped us to select the department that we want to see. You can see that all the boxes are ticked. And if the box is ticked, then it means you're going to be seeing the information in your data. But filtering means I don't want to see everything. I only want to see some. And then Chidinma helped us to choose the ones that she wanted us to see. So the one you want to see has to be checked. There has to be this good marked in the box beside it. So Chidinma said she wanted us to see bakery and meat. And so what I did was that I unselected everything and then checked bakery and meat. Another way to do this, if I click OK, you see that in this data, we are only left with bakery and meat. Another way to do this would have been to, as it appeared all checked by default. Since you don't want to, if you say you only want to see bakery and meat, another thing you could do is to uncheck deli. So by unchecking that box, you're saying, I don't want to see you. And you uncheck produce because you do not want to see produce. And if you click OK, then you are left with bakery and meat. Is it clearer now? Can't you see how my cursor moves? Chidima, are you not seeing my cursor?
I can see them clearly.
I think there was this thing that was done last week about how to change your resolution. Is there anybody here who was here last week that can remember what Mr. David asked to do about changing resolution so that it's clearer? Oh, thank you, Martha. Thank you, Juliet. Okay, so it's clearer now. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Is anybody here that can remember what Mr. David, there's something Mr. David said last week about how to improve on your resolution? Is anybody that remembers it? Okay, thank you, Oni.
I
Thank
can't
you.
remember it clearly, but I think if you go to the settings, you can change the resolution from. I can't really remember, Sha, but in settings.
Okay, maybe when Mr. David, please, or if there's anybody who is a Dahel admin here, please paste in the chat box again the way you helped, um, um, Okay, Chinalum says go to settings and change resolution. So please, on your screen, whether you're using your phone or your laptop, it says go to settings and change your resolution. So I don't know. I can't remember what it was. Choose. Okay, Martha says choose 720. All right. Probably that might help because it helped a couple of people last week. Okay, since this is clearer now, let's move on to the next. And that is called tables. Tables. This is not like the kind of tables that you are always breaking on social media. So somebody will say small thing and you say you want to, this table that is standing on two legs, you want to break it. So here we are going to be inserting tables that cannot be, that hopefully will not be broken. In Jesus' name, or in the name of, whatever it is you believe in. So, sorry, 1 second. Okay. So these tables that we are talking about in Excel, when we talk about a table in Excel, a table is a way of putting information together in a way that they are linked. Let me try and see if I can get a textbook explanation of it so that I can't see any. Okay. Now, you see, when you have this data the way it is now, this data has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. Okay. And how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this data has 6 columns and 9 rows. And we know that the information in this data are related somehow. This data is even looking like the one we just finished with, is it not? They are brethren. Yes, that's true. They're looking alike. So now you can see that from this data now, we can see that this data is related because what is in column C is still telling us something about what is in column B and column A. You get? So somehow every information in this data is related. But the way this data is now, okay, it is not in a table. If it is not in a table, then there is no link. There's no permanent link between them. So creating a table in Excel simply means creating a, a permanent or semi-permanent link between all the information that you have within a data set. So as this data is now in Excel, we call it a range. So if you want to work effectively with your data in Excel, the very first thing you need to always do is to convert it to a table. In fact, when I was training in the health tech a couple of years ago, this is the first thing Mr. David always say. Anytime you have data, turn it to a table. Anytime you begin to, before you start working, turn it to a table. When I eventually got my first role, I was not keeping to that rule, and man, did I pay for it. Because I kept repeating tasks and doing things that would have automatically happened if I had converted to a table. And when eventually I recalled, got used to always converting my data to a table, my life got a little bit easier. So a table creates a relationship between all of the information in a data. It reduces repetitive tasks that you would have done. And we're going to be seeing some of them now. Let me take off this total table for a minute. Okay. Let me take off the information there and click total. All right. And then let's recalculate some. Can you see can you see what happened, that it has given me the sum for this, and for me to fill it down to the rest of the cells, I need to double tap or drag down, right? But let's turn this data to a table and see what happens. And to put your data into a table, what do? You select your data. Okay. Go to insert. You would see options here under tables. You choose table. It brings up this pop-up that I can see here saying create table, which is what you want to do. That's fine. And because you've already selected the data for your table, it has automatically imputed it here. You see this little box that says my table has headers. You check it. If you uncheck it, let's see what happens. Excel has converted your data to a table. But can you see that because you told Excel that your data does not have headers, it has given you new headers. It has given us new headers here. And that's making our data look like Ojuju Calabar because it's not right. It doesn't look right. So let's undo this and go back again to insert table. We check my table has headers, so it does not begin to give you new headers. And then you say, okay. And so you see that your data, now your data has been converted from a range to a table. And being converted from a range to what tells you that it has been converted from a range to a table is when you begin to see these drop downs here. Then your data is now a table. Now let's try calculating the total again. Sorry, sum of these. Enter. Sorry. Let me change this. So when you've converted your you should automatically calculate the sum for the other ones without you prompting it. I don't know why. I don't know why this is not happening here. Okay, this is not a table. I converted it back to a range. So let's put it back in a table. Take this out though. Let me delete this field. Okay. So let's turn this to a table. It should automatically do that. Okay. And then put in a new column, sorry. Put in a new column called total. And you see that putting in this new column, it has automatically incorporated it into the table. And then when you do a sum of this, it automatically fills it in so that you do not need to put in one and then start dragging down. I don't know if this makes sense. I'll do another example because I now start hearing I don't understand. So here we have another table, okay? The same thing as what we've done before. So we have this sales that has been made for this period. Now let's do a calculation here. Let's say that, this is sales that was made. And then let's say the cost price for each. Let's put in a cost price for this. Let's say the cost price for this is 800. Let's just be putting in random numbers. 1,200. 3,400. I'm just putting in random numbers, so 300, 800, 3,500, 5,000. Change this to currency. I think I need to. Okay. So now we have these products, okay, and then we have these sales that we made from these products, and take out the zeros, okay, and then we have these sales that we made. Now, if we want to get the profits, can somebody direct me? We've done this before in the first class. How do I get the profit out of this? Remember, this is the sales that was made, total sales made, and this is the cost price. So how do we get our profit? Somebody? Anybody? How do we get, what's the formula? How do we get the profit?
The profit would be the sales price minus the cost price.
Yes, it should be the sales price minus the cost price. So it's
Equals
equals
to
to,
some,
not sum,
not
equals
some,
to
sorry,
this
equals to the sales price. That's,
minus
yeah.
cost price. And then you close it and you click enter. Okay. What happened? Who carry their village people come here now? So this will be equals to this minus this. Enter. So can you see that it has automatically calculated everything with your enter without you having to get the first one and then you start filling down? Do we understand, some of the importance of converting your data into a table? Does this make sense?
Yes, it does.
It does. Okay, there's something I forgot to mention earlier before going back to this. Let me take this out. Let me delete this entirely. I forgot to show how to sorry, what do you call it again? How to name your table. So when you let's take everything back to where it was. Okay. So convert this back to a range. All right. So our data is back to a range now. So when you insert a table by selecting your data, insert, I'm going all over it again, choose table. My table has headers. Okay. When you look at the top, it's on my left, on the top left corner here, you see table name. Okay. You can name your table. So let's call this table quarter 3 sales. So you name your table, you see. So so your table now has a name. Now look at this. When you try to calculate your total and you've created a column for it. So once you type total, it automatically incorporates that into the table. And your total will be equal to sum of, and you see that it's calling this its name at October and November and December. And then look at our formula. Can you see that our formula has changed from, instead of calling it column A or column B or column C, it's now calling it the name of the table, quarter 3 sales, which is the name of the table. What I'm talking about, you'll be seeing it in the formula bar up here. Can you see my cursor in the formula bar? Yes? No?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you see that it's now calling it the name of the table, quarter 3 sales. And then you're summing up information from October to December. So putting in a table, converting your data to a table, it makes you work more professionally, and you're dealing with the information. You're no longer making an example. You're not trying to see, oh, am I copying column B to D? Am I copying column A to Z? Because you're seeing the names of the columns and the name of your table clearly spelled out. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. Any questions on the tables? Yes, Chinalorum, you can highlight your data. You can highlight the data that you want without highlighting the entire sheet. And I'll show you, I think I've done that a couple of times. So click on the first cell that has the information of the data that you want to copy. Hold down your left cursor, and then drag your data, drag your cursor to select only the data you want. Another way to do that would be to click on the first cell that has the data that you want, and hold down Control and A. Does that answer your question, Chinalorum? Chinalorum, does that answer your question? I'm assuming yes. Okay, so let's crack on. So drop downs. So how many of us have what do you call it again? How many of us have filled forms, where you have they've already pre-filled options for you. All you need to do is choose it. So let's say you've typed your name, you've typed your name, your surname, and then when it comes to age, they now group the age like 18 to 29, 30 to 39. Have we ever seen anything like that? So you can now, only choose the age range that falls within yours. Yes, okay. So that's exactly the kind of thing that you can do with this drop down. So let's say, for instance, that your organization you're working in an organization and you want to organize um a dinner party. And then instead of passing forms around and having people choose, say, write what they want, because when it comes to drink, somebody can write Fanta, another person will write Fanta Chapman, another person will write orange juice. But all they are referring to is a drink that has orange in it. Since you do not want all that scatter data, referring to different things, somebody can refer to water as water. Another person can refer to water as H2O. Another person can refer to water as aqua. So because you don't want people referring to the same thing in different ways, in data quality, which is part of what I do, there's something we call validity, the validity of your data. So for that something is correct does not make it valid. And so be looking out for the quality of the data that you gather, so that it is in conformation to what your organization wants. You try to limit what people can input by putting in drop downs. So that way you already know what you want them to put in, so that nobody would come and be referring to car as vehicle. Meanwhile, they are both, car is correct, vehicle is correct, but what you want in your data is to see car, not vehicle. So that's what drop downs are. So you create a drop down in such a way that people can only choose, you can limit the options of what people get to choose. So how do you put this in? I don't use this a lot, so and I didn't even get the time to do this. Okay, but I don't use drop downs a lot, but we'll try to We'll try to do this. If we fail, we try again. Like I said in the first class, my knowledge is limited. So here on the top right, we have this data, this small data, which is what we want to appear in our drop down. Okay, this data is what we want to appear in our drop down. So how do we make it an option in the drop down? I think that I first need to choose this. If I try this and it doesn't work, I would go online and find out how it should work and come back. Because I'm looking for the data validation. Yes, I go to data validation. Yes, I think it's here. Yes. So under here is asking, under settings, okay, is asking validation criteria. I'll go to this drop down. So we can see that the validation criteria is saying what is the thing that you want to be put into your drop down list. So it's a list, it's not a date, because we have a list of things that we have here. So what's the source of your data? Is this? I hope this works. Apply these changes to all other cells within the same setting. Let me check it and see. I don't know. Let's say okay. Okay, no, this is not right. This is not this is not what I want. So I think I should select where I want the drop down to be in. Select here, go to data validation. The selection contains some cells without data validation. Do you want to extend it? Okay, yes, extend it. So maybe I need to select everything. Select everything. Can you see that, if you have an idea, I said this in the first class, if you have an idea of what you want to do, okay, Excel has a way of prompting you and correcting you and nudging you until you get it right. So because I'm a bit confused about what I want, but I know what I want to do, Excel will keep prompting me until I get what I want to do right. So the selection contains some cells without data validation. Okay, let me say yes and see what it says. So what's the data source? It's not this. It's this. Okay. All right. Okay, yes, I think it's right now. So when I click here, can you see that I have a little drop down by the side here? Let me come back here. Do you understand what I did, or is it confusing? Sorry. I know I just did a lot of things because I was also struggling to try and understand how it goes. Do you understand how we got to the point where we have the drop down button beside it? Or should I go over it again? Chidema, do you understand it?
Now you can go over it again, but it's clear.
It's clear. Okay. So let me see those is it clear? So let's go over it again. Okay. So undo. Just undo. Still here. Undo. Let me just copy this here. Okay. And place it here as values. And then let's start all over again and add color. So yeah, it looks like what we had before. And change this to white. So it looks like what we had before. Okay, so we still maintain our list. All right. So we want to create a drop-down list here so that people can categorize the information in column F based on whether it is meat or veggie or bakery or fruits. So we want to be able to categorize these things based on this information. And so we want to pass this list around to everybody in this group and let them categorize it based on what they think this thing is. Now, me and you may be thinking that Maybe thinking that chicken is meat. To another person, they may be seeing chicken as bakery. So this might be a survey, sort of. So we are trying to find out where people think, what departments people think this information should be grouped into based on this list. So what do? We select where we want to have the information in. I'm not very sure whether it should be all of it or just this, but let's go. And go to data and come under data validation and then choose a list, because what we want to choose from is a list that we have in column D, and it's asking us the source, and then we select the source and then we click OK. And when we, let me see what happens if I choose meat. Okay, no, it shouldn't be here. So I should only choose this column. Okay, so I choose this column. What should apples be? I would say apples should be fruits. So if I choose fruits, it comes in there. I go to the next one. I choose beef. Chidima, what is beef? Is it veggies?
No, it meets
It's meat. Who else is in the studio with me? What is banana? Is it bakery? Okay. I've come back again. Oh, Martha, Chidima, marvelous. I've come back again. Is it clearer now? I've done it again. Is it clearer? Joseph, we can't hear you. Can you say something now? Joseph Effiong. Okay, Ofure says it's clearer now. Ofure, what do you think? What category should bananas fall in? So you see, when you click on this little drop down by the side, it brings up the options that you have, and you just need to choose one. So Ofure, where should bananas fall into? Is it meat? Fruits, 6 stars, bright. Thank you very much. So it should be fruits. So like that, you can create, this data. Lemons, is it vegetables or fruits? Lemon, is it veggie or fruits? Which one is it?
fruits.
Are you sure? I would have said it's lemon. I would have said it's veggie. Okay. Oh. Do we all agree that lemon is fruits? Does everybody agree that lemon should be fruits? Okay, lemon is a fruit. How many of you eat lemon the way you eat banana? Chidima, do you eat lemon the way you eat banana?
I can't remember the last time I ate lemon.
Okay, but you're calling it a fruit. Ngwano. Okay, oh, it's a fruit. Broccoli. Where does broccoli fall?
Veggie,
Veggie. Ham, unko. Okay, kale.
veggie,
Veggie. Ham.
meat,
Meat. Bread.
bakery,
Bakery. Chicken.
meat,
Meat. Cookies.
bakery,
Bakery. Cake.
bakery,
Bakery. Pies.
bakery.
Bakery. So let's say, for example, that you are a let's say that that you are a tailor. You can have this customized Excel sheets, where you've customized the columns for maybe age, or the columns for gender, so that you don't your people don't have to start typing things all the time. You can customize your sheets in such a way that all they need to do is, when they put in male or female, they click the drop down, they select male, everything is going faster like that. So that's another way of, that's a real life example of how you can, if you're a med lab scientist like I used to be, you can have all the tests that you do all put together in a drop down list like this, so that your front desk person or receptionist does not have to keep typing and typing. All they need to do is, if they're using an Excel sheet, if you can't afford to invest in a real CRM, if you want to use a spreadsheet which works just well, if the person knows how to use it and it's cheaper. So you can put all the tests you do, in a drop-down list like this, and then they can all be, picking and dragging and putting in there, and it makes your life better. All right. So let's now move to the more interesting things, where things begin to get a little more complicated. We will now be going into charts. So when I was in secondary school, where we were taught about different kinds of charts, we have the pie chart, the bar charts, column charts, stack charts, line charts, histogram, different kinds of area charts, different kinds of charts that you can use to present data in such a way that it's less painful to the eye. You see, when you look at data this way, the way you can see this data, department category, October, 30,000, 25,000, 80,000, 90,000, 90,000, this is a lot of numbers. And sometimes it's just a bit difficult to try and interpret these numbers. But when you convert these numbers into charts, it makes it easier to assimilate. It makes it easier to internalize. It makes it easier to understand what the hell it's talking about. So let's try and insert a couple of charts. I don't know how we are going to do this because this is so much information. Make a chart for the following set of data. Okay. Now let's say that we want to make a chart showing category and the sales that was made in each month. So let's see what it will look like though. Then we can start working around it. So let me select a text. Okay, let me explain this. Sorry. You insert a chart with what do you call it now? Is there a category and a value? So one of it must be categorized data, and one of it must be numerical data, because there has to be something that you're trying to count or show its values. And the one you're trying to show its values is the one that would determine the length of either the pie, if it's a pie chart, or the length of the bar or column, if it's a bar or column chart, or the height of the line, if it's a line chart or an area chart. So in this case, let's say that we are trying to insert a chart for bread and see how much of bread was sold alone in October, November, and December. You select that data from this range, go to Insert, come under Charts. Now, you can already see some charts here that you can choose. If you hover around them, it gives you an idea. This is looking like a pie chart. This is looking like a line chart. This is looking like, a column or bar chart. So depending on what you want to do. So you can choose any of this. And then it brings out the different kinds of chart. Can you see? It brings out the different kinds of charts and what you want to, use them for. All of these has got, different applications. There's a time where you want to use a stacked column. There's a time where you want to 100% stacked column. So you can see from what is showing underneath here, when I try to select this, you can see that all of them are on the same level. But you use a stacked column where you're trying to show two or more different things. I'll come to that later. But since we just want to see bread, sales of bread in October, November, and December, let's choose this 3D column and see. So if you select that, you have inserted a chart for October, November, and December for bread alone. So instead of every day at the close of work, if you are maybe a clerical officer or an admin or a receptionist, instead of every day at the close of work, you carry your long notes that is showing numbers like we have in this data. Imagine what it will look like if you present something like this to your boss at the end of every day or at the end of every week, showing him or her the sales you've made. They don't have to start scanning through to find out, oh, okay, we sold more in October or we sold more. Once they look at this picture, it tells them everything that they need to know. Now, to make things a little better, if you can edit this chart if you want by clicking on this plus box. And if you check data labels, it goes on to put on, the actual number on top of each on top of each column. Is this interesting at all? Do you find this interesting at all? Yes, no, yes, no. Forget about whether you understand or not. Do you find this interesting? Are you thinking that, you could try to use more charts in your workplace than just numbers and figures? Nobody is
Now I
talking to
have a
me.
question.
Okay.
Can I
Yes,
go
please
ahead?
go ahead. Yes, please do.
Okay. Can you try putting it into a table like you said? We should always put our data sets in a table and then work from there. So like can you try
Yeah.
putting this in a table and then create a chart from there?
Yeah, it's going to be the same thing. You can
Oh,
put it into a table if you want. Insert table. The table has headers. Give it name. Charts. It's in a table now.
okay. You didn't change
Okay.
anything. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you can do this and you can do this, for whatever it is you want to do. So this is just one chart. All right. Now let's say that we want to look at all of these sales in October, November, December. Come to insert charts and choose this. Now, take a look at this. Okay. This is called a stacked chart. Let me take this. Let me see if I can take this, further away. This is a stacked chart that I was talking about. You best use it when you have, so many dimensions or different kinds of variables that you want to show at the same time. And what we have below here is called a legend. The legend is what gives you an interpretation of the codes. In this case, the codes are colors. So we can see that anywhere you see blue in this chart, you're looking at October. Anywhere you see red in this chart, you're looking at November. And anywhere you see green in this chart, then it's representing December. And in a very simple way, we can see from this chart that the highest sales that was made in this quarter was made, from beef. Beef sold the highest because its chart seems to be the longest. So this is giving you this information. And the least sales seem to have been made from bread or fruits, whichever one. So this gives you a general idea. And then if you now want to begin to look at it month on month, you can then see that in October, the least seems to have been fruits that was sold, and the highest looks like it was this. Again, you can want to insert data labels, but this is going to be dirty. It's not going to be looking clean, you see. So you can want to insert the data labels in them so that you can be seeing the numbers at the same time while you're working on it. You can also decide to insert a different kind of chart, which is the 100% stacked. So everything, it's not showing like, this is bigger, this is smaller. All the columns are the same size, but what you will now be looking at would be the size, the size or the length of the colors in each of them. And this is best when you want to look at, let's say in this data, you're trying to look at the monthly sales and not necessarily the cumulative sales. So this is when you can use this kind of charts. So there are different kind of charts that can be used, and I've just shown you 3 of them. You may want to also use, let's use a pie chart and see what it might give us. Pie charts don't like it when your headers when your header is a is a what do I call it now? When your header is in the row. I noticed that with pie chart, it doesn't like it. Let's copy this thing out and transpose and see what happens. You see, so pie charts, I noticed that pie charts are not really happy when the headers are in the columns. It doesn't, sorry, when the headers are in the rows, it doesn't like it. It always prefers its headers to be in the column. So this is a pie chart. Okay. I forgot to mention, you can change, the way your charts appear here with all of these options. So you can choose any one you want, whichever one that rocks your boat. But personally, I usually like this one or this one. I usually like this one or this one. Whenever I'm working, I prefer that. So again, you can also format, here, depending on what you want. If you want the legend to show, you can show, you can take it off. You can work on, on the data labels. You can decide to change how it appears. You want it to be best fit. Is it inside? You want it to be center. You want it inside end. You want it outside end. You want whatever it is you want to do, you can just play around with these things. So these are a few different kinds of charts. Now, if you come under inserts, okay, and come to recommended charts, okay, exit. If you come under recommended charts, to create a chart, select the cells that I don't want any of this thing. Just okay. Well, just show me. So if you come under recommended charts, okay, you click recommended charts and click all charts. Can you see? This gives you an array of possible charts that you can use in Excel. All of these things are different kinds of charts that you can insert. So again, you may want to go back and do a little research on charts and try to understand better how they work and, on what occasion you may want to use each one. Any questions on the charts? Please transpose the data set again. My sister, so you just copy like I did. I taught transpose before now. Were you not here? You just copy what you want to, whatever it is you want to transpose. Like in this case, it was bread that I transposed. So I just copied this and this. I've added something else. Copy, come here and paste transpose. That's how I did the transpose. Any questions on the charts, please? I find it difficult to import pics on my charts in Excel. Where are you importing the pics from, sis? I guess that might be a personal problem. You shouldn't be finding it difficult. You can import pictures into your Excel. If you want personalized, issues like this, you may want to join the premium class. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, Joseph. Sorry about that. So if you want to join the premium class, maybe that personalized issue can be dealt with you. We've done a lot of transpose. I don't know if the recording will be available for you, and I've just done it now. Annie, I just did it a few seconds ago. When I saw Sikak's question, I did the transpose a few seconds ago. Any questions on inserting charts? Can we move on? Yes, no? Are you learning anything at all from today's class? Are you learning anything at all? So is anybody okay? I think at the end of this class, Mr. David would talk about joining the premium class. I think there's a link to join the class as well. Mr. David, if you're here, someone is asking how to join the premium class. He will talk about it. I think he has his classes tomorrow as well, so he would talk about it more there. Okay, thank you very much for the feedback. Thank you. So I'm hoping that we can then begin to use charts in our reporting, more than numbers. You just will not quantify how happy your boss would be, to see you presenting reports as charts. Okay. There is a link to it. Mr. David or whoever it's the admin here today for the hell. Lots of people are asking about how they can join the premium classes, please. Can you attend to them? Okay, so let's go to next pivot tables. I absolutely love pivot tables. Damn. And if you're going to be going further, into any kind of analysis, you don't even say going further. You don't even need to be going further. If you're going to be using Excel, you need pivot tables. You need pivot tables. Now, what are pivot tables? We talked about tables a couple of minutes ago. Now, pivot tables are also also a kind of table, all right? But this kind of table helps you analyze and digest large pieces of information easily. So with pivot tables, you are seeing, sorry, give me a second. With the pivot table, you're seeing large pieces of information at the same time. Now, let's dive into it. I don't want to talk too much on this one. Again, like I always say, if this becomes a little, technical or difficult for you, breathe. If you have a cup of water around you, drink. Tell yourself, like I always say, Chimde, this is new. It's not difficult. It's just new. If I spend enough time on it, I'll get used to it. So if at this point you're beginning to struggle, please breathe and tell yourself that it's just new. It's not difficult. Okay. Now, to insert a pivot table, you select your data just like we do when we want to turn our data into a table. Now, there's a question here for us. It says, visualize the product line. Who was the most profitable salesperson? Use pivot table to present your answer. Now, visualize. What we did here is a visual. So what we did here was that we visualized data. We used a pie chart to visualize how much bread was sold in October, November, and December. So this is a visual. Okay. A visual can also be a pivot table. A pivot table can also be used as a visual because it digests the information. Now, let's take some time to explore this data. So we have the dates that sales were made in column A. Okay. And in column B, we have the person who made the sales. That's the salesperson. And in column C, we have the product that was sold. And in column D, we have the amount that was sold. Okay. So you need to first understand your data before you can start analyzing it, or before you can, go into pivoting it to get more information. So now we know when it was sold, We know who sold it. We have data on what was sold, and we have data on the amount that was sold. Now, to insert a pivot table, you select the entire data. You go to Insert. Under Tables again, you click Pivot Table. It brings up first pop-up. This data has already been put into a table, you see. So it has a name, which is called sales data. So it has told you the name of your table or data here. And it's asking you, choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. Where you want the pivot table to be placed. Is it on a new worksheet or in an existing worksheet? Let's choose a new worksheet so that everything is clean. And let's say, okay. Now, we are in a brand new sheet. Please, can you confirm that you can see this new sheet that has the pivot field and the pivot table on different sides of the sheet? Can somebody confirm that they can see this new sheet, please? Yes? Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, yes. Okay, thank you very much. All right. So we have on our right, but this is on my right, I don't know what side of yours it is, the pivot fields. Another name for columns in Excel is fields. So the different columns in your data are called fields. So this is also, you could also want to call this pivot table columns if you like, if it makes more sense to you. And you can see that these are the different columns that we had in our data. Now we want to see this data in a different kind of, in a table here, but in a different kind of table that is called pivot table. If we go back one more time to our table, we can see that we have Maria here, we have Anne, we have Mark, we have Anne again, we have Laura, and we have Mark again. Can you see? But Anne here sold beer, and Anne here sold beer. And Mark here sold soda, Mark here sold wine. So different things have been sold by the same people. Let's see how it will appear in the pivot table. Going on, we can see here the different fields that we have in our table, which where we are coming from, we understood. This is the dates field or date column, the salesperson, the product, the amount. So Excel has brought in all our data here. It's complete. Under here, we can see that we have 4 quadrants. Can you confirm that you can see these 4 quadrants? We have filters,
Yes, ma'am.
columns, rows, values. Thank you very much. Now, see these 4 quadrants as an area or areas where you organize your data the way you want it to appear here. When I teach Excel, a lot of people struggle to understand pivot tables at the first time, so I'm going to be as granular as I can. Please, in the comment section, those of us who are not in the studio, can you just tell me 2 things that are in the column and 2 things that are in the rows in this table so I can be sure that you understand what is in a column and what is in a row? I want 3 people, the first 3 people, tell me 2 things that are in a column here in this data, in this pivot data, and 2 things that are in rows in this data. Quickly, please, in the chat. Tell me 2 things that are in the column in this data and 2 things that are in a row so I can understand that you know what column and row is. Quickly, please. Our time is going up. Anybody, even in the private chat? I want to see Mention two things that are in a column in this data and two things that are in a row. Data salesperson for column. Let's see, is that correct? Date salesperson for column, correct? Products and amount are in column, correct? Row Anne and beer. Row Anne and beer, correct. Correct. So we understand that. That's good. So let's go forward. I just wanted to establish that we understand that. Now, in this quadrant, where you have columns, in this top right quadrant, where you have columns, anything you put into this column, it means that in this place, you want it to appear as a header, as a column header. Anything you put in the row box or quadrant, it means you want it to appear in the rows. Anything you put in the values quadrant, it means that that is what you want to count. That is what you want to see its number or total. And anything you put in the filters, okay, that is what you want to toggle in between. Like you want to choose, okay, I want to see all of the information in the column rows and values. I want to see it for this. I don't want to see it for this. You remember when we talked about filters? If you understand this concept, then pivot table is a piece of meat. Let's begin to work now. What is the first question we're asked to answer? It says, visualize the product wine. Okay, let's go on and see. So we want to see wine. Wine is a product. Do we want it to be in the column? Let's put it here and see. You see? Okay, that's good. And we want to know how much of the wine that was sold. Remember, you can play around with these things anyhow. This is the count of people that sold it. Okay, no. We want to know how much of wine was sold. Okay. So wine was sold 2 times, beer 2 times, soda 2 times. Now, if you want to see who sold wine, you may want to now bring salesperson here. You can see that bringing in the salesperson here is not showing us only wine, but it's showing us all of the products that were sold. Now, if I want to see only wine, can somebody tell me what to do if I want to see only wine? Can somebody tell me what to do if I want to see only wine? What do I want to do? Remember all of the things we talked about when we talked about sort and filter. If I want to see only wine in this, my pivot table, what do I do? Yes, 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 yes. Anybody? Filter. Thank you very much. I need to filter. So what do I need to do to filter to get that? What do I need to put in the filter? So in this, my table now, what do I need to put here so that I can see only wine? What do I need to put here? So we have product in the columns, we have the count of products, so we have the product in the values, and then we have salespersons in the row, but I want to see only wine. So what do I put in the filter? Okay, it says drop wine in the filter section. Okay, okay, drop wine in the filter section. But I can't see any column called wine here.
Product.
Drop product in the filter section. Absolutely correct. So I take the product and put it in the filter. Okay. Now I can then come here, select multiple fields. I can expand this selection and then uncheck everything except wine. You see, and that leaves me with only wine. Laura sold wine once, Mark sold wine once. Does this make sense? Is it clear? Is it clear how we arrived at this point? Okay. I take it as a yes because, yes, you filter out others and leave. Correct, 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 correct. Very good, very, very good. Now, what's our next business question? It says, who was the most profitable salesperson? Who was the most profitable salesperson? Okay, let's go back to our pivot table. So now we don't want to, deselect, or we can take away the product from this because we no longer want to see filter out, wine. We can bring the product back here or not. It says, who is the most profitable salesperson? Take out the filters. Select all. So the filters are back. So it's saying who sold the most. Okay. So we want to count the amount that was sold now. So we bring this in here. Let's for once say we don't want to see all the products that we sold. We just want to know because the question says, who is the most profitable salesperson? So who sold the most? So when you put this in here, it tells you how much each person has sold. All right. And then you can easily see what it is from here. But let's say that, the data is larger than this and you want to put it into a chart. So there should be a pivot chart somewhere here. Okay, so if you just put that in. So this tells us that Anne, without even being told here, is the most profitable salesperson because her bar is the longest. Remember that you can format your charts, with what you want. So here you can change what is here and name this chart sales by salesperson or whatever it is you feel the name of the chart is. Any questions? Any questions? Do you understand? We've answered the two questions. Okay, is there anybody who has any question they want us to answer using this pivot table? What do you want to see using this pivot table? Let's try and see if we can do that. Or do you understand what has been done? Any questions? Any questions? Please, can I go through the pivot table again? Okay. Let's use another data. Okay. So it says, let's use another data. Which data we want to use now, Kwame? Okay. Let's use this data. Who is the person that said let's use another data? Are you happy with us to use this one there that we use for charts, this bakery category? Are you happy for us to use that? Ofure, are you happy for us to use this data on Okay, that's fine. Well, let's go ahead. I think our time is almost up, so this will be the last class for today. So next time we'll continue with the joins and if statements. So let's insert a pivot table with this data. What business question are we answering from here, please? What would we want to say? Put one business question based on this data in the table. I'm already beginning to train you to think as analysts too. Yeah, Martha, we are doing it again. What you did come to the new sheet? Yes, and we're repeating it. My question is, give me a business question that we are going to be answering. We are going to insert the pivot table again. What question? If you don't give me a question, we are not going, because we can't be running around in circles. Oh yeah, give me one question that we are going to be answering based on here. One person. I'm still waiting for a question. No. Which department had the most sales? Oh yeah, let's go. So we insert the pivot table by selecting the data. Go to insert. Everybody, are you following now, please? So we don't have to do it again and again and again and again and again. So insert, all right, pivot table, okay. It's giving us the name of our table or chart. Remember, we converted this to a table and we named it charts, okay. And then it's asking us, do you want it on a new worksheet or an existing worksheet? Let's do it on this worksheet we are on. Okay, these are the existing worksheets. And it's saying, what is the location of the worksheet that you want to insert this? Let's ask it to insert it here. And say, okay. So you can see that it has given us, here we have the pivot field, the pivot table canvas, and then we have the fields here. And these are the different fields that are in our data. Okay. Now, our business question was what again? Which department had the most sales? Okay. Which department had the most sales? So we want to see department and the sales that they made. So if we bring in department here, and then we bring in, okay, we did not create a total table for this. So our data does not have a total table. So let's go back to our data and add a total table. Was it here again? Charts. Okay. Let's go back to our data and add a total table, because that way we'll be able to see the department that made the most sales. And then we do a sum. So we now have a sum. Our data has a total table. And then let's come back to our pivot table. And then go to data and refresh. Okay. So do you see what I did? Because we inserted new data, this is one of the beautiful things about table, like I said before, the benefits are enormous. So because we just noticed that we didn't have a total table that would tell us the department that had the highest number of sales, I went back to the data and added a total table to it, a total column or field to it. And then I came back to the data, under the data tab, I clicked on refresh. I asked Excel to go back and refresh my pivot table and include the new data that I have added. Can you see that in the field section now, a total column has appeared that I added to my table? But if I'd inserted a pivot table with the range, leaving it as a range, this wouldn't have been able to happen. So since we want to see the total, we bring our total to the values. So this gives us a sum of everything that has been sold, whether it's from January, whether it was in October or in November or in December. This is the total of everything that has been sold. Now, if you also want to have it visualized, you go to your pivot analyze, you go to pivot chart, and then you insert your chart. And this tells us that meat was the highest sold. So this is the total sales by department in the whole month. I think we saw this in one of the other charts that we did already. Is it clearer now? He said the department with the most sales in December. Can we do that with this data? Because this data is not formatted in such a way that the dates are okay. If I take out some department with the most sales in December, so this is for December alone, and you can see that it still meets, and the least sales in December is Delhi. If I bring in October in here, would it make any difference? So you see, so, and if I bring in October in here, so this is telling you these are all the sales that were made from bakery, from deli, from meat, and from produce by month. And the color codes called the legends are here. So the blue is some of December. Anywhere you see blue, know that it's December. Anywhere you see red, know that it's November. Anywhere you see green, know that it's October. Monosherat, which month is the most sales? You can see it from here, which month had the most sales. We answered that question. Please, how did you filter wine? I didn't get that part, please. So we took wine and we put it in the filter section. If you were here, well, we've talked about filter as a different topic on its own. And even when we did chat, we did little filter. And these pivot tables, again, we've done some sort of filter. We took the product and we put it in this filter section. And then we came up here and then we expanded this and unchecked every other thing that wasn't wine and left only wine. Has that answered your question? So those who said I should go over it again, okay, thank you, Chukwujuk. We say it's clearer now. It's clearer now. Thank you very much. Okay. I think this is where we will be wrapping up the classes. Any questions here? Where's the highest sales and least sales? We answered all of that, didn't we? Who made the highest sales? So if I take this out, we can see that Anne made the highest sales and Laura made the least sales. I'm trying to answer all the questions I can see now. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Chukwu said this is wonderful. Yes, so my brother, it is wonderful. There are so many things. In fact, this morning, so since I transitioned from biomedical science to data analysis in 2021 or 2022, I think, or there about 21 or 22, I can't remember. I live and breathe Excel. I've been working on Excel for the past 2 to 3 years. So if there are, let's say, if there are 365 days in a year, so do 365 times 2. That's about That's over 700 days, right? So over 700 days. In these 700 days, I don't think there's been up to 100 days out of the
Please, how
700
did you
days.
filter wine?
I just did that. I just showed how I filtered wine. I just did it now. Here, you bring the product in here, and then you expand this and you select only wine, and then it gives you just wine. Is it clearer now? Is it clearer now? The person who asked how I filtered wine. Is it clearer? Okay, that's fine. So like I was saying, so let's say I've been working for the past 2 years, for example. And so out of the 2 years, there are about over 700 days. Out of the 700 days, I don't think there's been up to 100 days out of the 700 days that I did not open an Excel file. But do you know that this morning, just just this morning, I was looking at how to do something, and I had to go to YouTube to find something, and I still found out something as simple as conditional formatting that I have never used before. A part of conditional formatting that I had never used because it had never come up. I'd never had need of it, so I didn't know it. So this is like a sea of knowledge. It's wonderful. It's Thank you for the detailed explanation of pivot table. Oh, thank you, Marvelous. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love this kind of feedback. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now I work with this. So we try to teach you in such a way that you understand. One of the things I do is assume that my student is a nursery school child. I have a 2-year-old. So I try to assume that I'm teaching the 2-year-old. And I ask myself, how do I explain this thing so that this 2-year-old will understand it? And that's the format I use every single time. Thank you so much for that feedback, Marvelous. I appreciate it. So, like I was saying, just this morning, as I was trying to, do something that I've never done before, I found out something in conditional formatting that I have never used before. I've never used before. And it's that simple. So don't just, based on what you're hearing here today, everything I've just done here today is what I know. That's so much more that I do not know. It's the same, as in different ways of doing the same thing. I'm sure if Mr. David teaches you this class, he may also use a different format that that's different from what I did, but we still arrive at the same result. If I take you on the class that Mr. David is taking you, I may also teach you in a different format than what Mr. David is doing, and we will still arrive at the same result. So please do not base on what me or Mr. David alone is telling you. Go all out and learn. Go all out and learn. I came into this role as I transitioned from biomedical science to data analyst, and I did not start from an entry level role. Why? Because I'm sorry, I hope this is not coming up as pride or anything, but apply yourself to practice. Apply yourself to practice so that you can know more than your teachers are telling you. It helped me, and it will help you as well. I'm hoping so. All right. So thank you so very much, everyone, for giving me your 2 hours today. It's 1 o'clock today, and we need to check out from here and go do other things. I'm wishing you the so very best of life, and I'm hoping that whatever be the reason why you've sacrificed these 2 hours today, these 4 hours every week, so that I'm hoping that it becomes profitable to you at the end of the day. Till I see you again next week. Signing out from here. Bye.